Hello my friends, Nexius here, bringing you guys another 100 Magic Find Runs video. It's been about almost a year, I think, 6 months. Well, that's half a year, not almost. But anyway, it's been a very long time since I made one of these videos, and since I'm back and rejuvenated from taking a break from magic finding, I figured I would start off by finishing the Nightmare series here. So this is going to be Mephisto on Nightmare on players 8. I really was looking for a Viper Magi armor, so to up my chances, I went to players 8 for the extra loot, and on top of that, I figured, might as well just make the video while I'm at it. So here we have a little bit difficult killing him, but trust me, it gets a lot easier throughout the run once I got better gear on for my merc and whatnot. So here's the first drop here. This is Mephisto run 6. We have the butchers. I figured since it is Nightmare, a lot of you will be looking for kind of mediocre items here. Here we have run 29. We have a vampire gaze. We went like 23 runs of nothing good, which was pretty bad luck, but for me personally, I usually start getting things towards the second half of the 100 runs. The first 50 aren't that special usually for me. So run 34, we got the Natalia's helmet there. So far we have a Vampire Gaze, Natalia's helmet, and Butcher's Pupil. That's in 34 runs. In run 36 here, we have the Vile Husk. I believe this is it right here. Yes, it is. Non-ethereal. I do have an ethereal one in the stash if I ever want to use that for a mercenary. Decent weapon nonetheless for a barb or whatever you're playing. Isle Strike will be on run 38 here. Pretty decent druid axe, assuming you don't have a spirit sword. Personally, I like to farm for a spirit sword before I progress into Nightmare, but that's just me. On run 42, we have a Peasant Crown, which is what I like to call the Nightmare Shako or the Poor Man's Shako. On run 44, we have some Chance Guards, so this is a pretty good upgrade if you are magic finding for more magic find. So I already have chances, so it's not that big of a deal, but generally getting extra magic find early on, especially if you're magic finding Nightmare, it's pretty good. Now here we find an Alder's Weapon on run 51, so we are halfway through the 100 runs already. A couple of decent drops here and there, I guess, for Mercenary or yourself. Run 69, we find another pair of Chance Guards, which is pretty awesome. If you're like into JSP and you're doing Battle Net here, keep in mind this is players 8, so the results here are different because if you are by yourself, that's equivalent to players 1. So keep in mind with that. But anyway, Mephisto 71, we get Natalia boots, and as I was saying about JSP, so finding multiple Chance Guards like that, you can sell them to people pretty quickly because a lot of players like to magic find and play Sorceress. So when you find something like a Chance Guards extra pair, you can sell that on JSP. I don't personally, but like it's just an idea of magic finding Nightmare. You can find some decent stuff. Now we found a Sir Shrill Frost on run 73 and a Ginther's Rift on run 76. I'm showing these again because this is Nightmare. So if you're doing Nightmare Meph as say a Barbarian or a Zealer or something like that, generally you can't do hell right away. So I'm showing off these decent upgrades that you can find and just overall showing off the potential of the Nightmare areas. So here we have a Black Hand, which is pretty good for Necromancer. I figured I would throw that in. Of course, any caster should be using a Spirit Sword, but if you don't have one yet, these can be pretty decent alternatives, at least from what I've found. So here we have a Pus Spitter, really not that good. Crossbows are just weird if you're not an Amazon, and even as an Amazon, crossbows are just still weird. So here we find another Ginther's Rift. I believe that was on run 86. The Pus Spitter was on 85. Black Hand was on 83. We also found a decent circlet here on run 90. All resistances, strength, and necromancer skills. Like, if you don't find a Peasant Crown, especially a Shako or something, like, it's a pretty decent circlet. Here we find a gold skin. We find a okay helmet, I guess. 1 to Druid skills with all res 20. It's going to help you get into Hell mode. Granted, Druids have high resistances anyway through Cyclone Armor, assuming you're playing Wind build anyway. So, not as special as, say, a Necromancer or a Sorcerer's circlet, but good nonetheless. So that was on 94. That Druid circlet. Here we have a Sky Strike on run 98, which is good for Amazons early on, and finally we have a Storm Rider on exactly run 100. So a couple of decent weapons here and there, a couple of decent circlets. I know some of you have asked me before, can you check those circlets more often? Can you check those rare items more often? Because sometimes the rare items can be amazing and you guys would love to see that. So here are some of the circlets that I found to be pretty decent and worth noting here. Sometimes when it comes to like circlets, I try to restrict myself and not just show all the crappy circlets. I'm going to show some of the decent ones. So hopefully I did that for you guys to show off some of the decent rares, not just the uniques as well. So as you guys can see here, we have the list of all the items I found that were at least worthwhile of recording. Things like Cathins or Arcanas I didn't bother recording, but you guys can see all of the okay drops here. Overall, quite a bit of stuff, but keep in mind this was on Players 8. Mephisto is significantly stronger on Players 8, so Magic Find runs do take longer. On top of that, it's also on single player only that you can do this. The downside here is no Viper Magi. That's the biggest disappointment for me. That was the main reason I wanted to do this video as my first returning Magic Find series video, because I want that Viper, and I just can't get it, apparently. The Viper has always been elusive for me. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys thought, and if you guys want to suggest other areas, go ahead. Otherwise, I do have a playlist on my channel with all of my Magic Find runs. If you want to check these kind of videos out more, check that playlist on my channel. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.